like to defend early American slavery as just the times, but it wasn't in Georgia. Not for the first 20 years. Slavery was illegal. Georgia was founded in 1732 by James Oglethorpe, an English army officer, and 20 trustees. A big part of the reason it was settled was as a military buffer zone between South Carolina, which was a very profitable colony, and the Spanish in Florida. And this is one of the reasons why slavery was illegal in Georgia, because the Spanish would give freedom to anyone who came and joined their military. But the bigger reason was like paternalistic poverty stuff. Oglethorpe and the trustees wanted to establish Georgia as a way to help the poor in London. They didn't let them establish their own legislature or lawmaking body. The trustees made all of the laws. They wouldn't let anyone hold more than 500 acres of land at a time. They outlawed drinking and lawyers. But they didn't want the poor who were coming to Georgia to have enslaved people, because the enslavement of African people in South Carolina had created giant wealth gaps, huge wealthy plantation owners, and everyone else was kind of poor. They wanted the settlers of Georgia to create functionally middle-class existence, a comfortable life from their own labor. The settlers did not like this, in large part because a lot of the settlers of Georgia came from South Carolina and saw the massive wealth that could be created by human trafficking. They were very reluctant to overcome their personal laziness and do their own manual labor. But the ban was law. It was law passed by Parliament. Not everyone who settled in Georgia wanted to overturn the ban, though. The Highland Scots, for example, who settled in Georgia, wanted to keep it there. Over time, Spain became less of a military threat, and Oglethorpe left the colony. Thomas Stevens, the son of one of the trustees, went back to England and started lobbying Parliament to lift the ban on slavery. Wealthy South Carolinians started to conspire with the malcontents, as they were called, in Georgia to illegally traffic African slaves into Georgia. In the 1750s, realizing that they had functionally lost control of the slave trade in Georgia, the trustees asked Parliament to overturn the law that banned it. The wealthy South Carolinians who had migrated into Georgia just immediately recreated the South Carolina economy. Within about 20 years, 60 planters who owned half of the enslaved population of Georgia had taken over the low-country rice economy. Human trafficking became quickly essential to the Georgian economy, especially after the rise of cotton. And as we all know, cotton became to the South what oil is to the Middle East. So I don't know that arguments that slavery was inevitable in the American South bear out. The idea of inevitability in history is weird anyway. But if there is anything that is inevitable about American history, and something that we are still struggling with today, it's that the very, very wealthy will exploit any and every available system to maintain and grow that wealth.